Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, are you not entertained? Let me ask that again. One question for you. Are you not entertained? Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a bunch of awesome games so far this year. So far. Including yesterday, which we saw 4 awesome games yesterday. And if you all didn't watch those games, watch my live stream from this morning where I walk through those games. OMG. But what we just witnessed, guys, was basically a playoff game, guys. I was in my seat and I was like, OMG, OMG. It looked like the Liberty were going to easily win this game. And then in comes the third quarter where the Indiana Fever comes storming back. And it was like, oh man, the Indiana Fever went from being down by 8 to being up going into the fourth quarter. And it seemed like this game was Indiana's to have. Aaliyah Boston kind of carried them throughout the game. And then we went into the fourth quarter and then it was all like, okay, who's going to step up? And then Jonquel Jones was like, well, I got something to say. I got something to say, okay? Sometimes y'all be sleeping on me. Y'all forget the fact that I am a MVP of the WNBA. And she was like, you know what? I'm about to show up and show out. And indeed, she did, guys. What an amazing fourth quarter. And then we get into the theatrics of the last, minute and a half of this game, where we saw it come down to the wire. And ultimately, the Indiana Fever lose this game in theatrical fashion. Theatrical fashion, I would say. But a couple of things. A couple of things. I do wanna talk about what happened at the end of this game, because the last couple of minutes was interesting, I would say. Very, very interesting. And I know some of y'all may have some thoughts about, oh, that was a foul. Natasha Cloud fouled Caitlin Clark on that last one. No, she didn't. Guys, the last play of the game, skip that. Before we get to the last one of the game, this game was Indiana's to win in the fourth quarter. Again, they went into the fourth quarter. The score is 68 New York, 76 Indiana. Indiana goes through a huge slump in that third quarter, where it was 30 to 13 in that third quarter, where Indiana was just scoring. And I'm like, okay, well, I think this may be over for New York. New York forgot how to play basketball. It was a lid on the basketball, and New York couldn't do anything. And so I'm like, okay, we about to go in the fourth quarter, and Indiana about to get their fans what they want. We saw Caitlin finally hit a 3-point shot. What was that in the third quarter? She ended up making 2 in the game so far, but she was in a slump. She didn't hit any 3-pointers in that last game. She hit 2, and we're in the fourth quarter thinking, and I'm thinking okay, well, I think Indiana is looking pretty good. I think they're looking pretty good. But then Jonquel Jones, but then Natasha Cloud, and some of the actions that Indiana had early in the game that was working, they kind of went away from them of sorts. And we started to see missed shots at the rim. And it is what it is. And then we're at about we're at what it was an instance late in the game. It was less than a minute left to go. Indiana had the basketball. They end up, the ball ends up with DeWanna Bonner. And DeWanna Bonner gets her shot blocked by, was it Natasha Cloud who blocked her shot? I think that might have been Natasha Cloud. Yeah. It's about less than a minute. The Fever have to score. It's tied up 88-88. DeWanna Bonner ends up with the basketball. She goes up for it, gets her shot blocked. In my opinion, it looked like a block to me. Now, I know some people are like, "Hey, that was a foul." I didn't think it looked like a foul to me. It looked like a block, in my opinion. Okay, so block. Natasha Cloud ends up blocking DeWanna Bonner's shot with I'm looking at the play-by-play. So that was with 10 seconds left to go. It was 88-88. Natasha Cloud blocked DeWanna Bonner's shot. And then, Kelsey Mitchell has the basketball, goes for a jumper. She misses. Rebound goes to Kennedy Burke. Okay? And Kennedy Burke gets the rebound. Liberty call a timeout. And of course, you're all tied up. 7 seconds left to go. You have the basketball, and it's your turn to get an easy bucket. So what does the Liberty do? They run a one-on-one play for Sabrina Ionescu. Sabrina Ionescu is being guarded by Lexi Hull. Sabrina drives to the basket. Lexi has her hand straight up, but she gets her in the body. She gets her with the lower body. And boom, foul. And I think Debbie Antonelli, I think she was saying challengers or whatever. That was a foul. It looked like a straight up foul to me. It was a foul because Lexi was good up top. But you gotta watch out for the body. And that's where the foul came. So Sabrina goes to the free throw line, makes both of her free throws. And now the score is 90-88. We got about 2 seconds left to go in this game. 2 seconds left. All right. And the Indiana Fever, they don't have a regular timeout. All they had left was a transition. I forgot the name of the timeout, but it was a timeout that basically advances the basketball. So they didn't have a timeout where they could huddle or whatever. The only thing they could do is advance the basketball. So they call a timeout, advance the basketball. So now they're on their side. Okay. So of course, you got 2 seconds left. Caitlin cannot inbound the basketball if you got 2 seconds. That's not enough time for her to get the ball back. So you get the ball to Caitlin, who tries to make a move, but she gets stripped by Natasha Cloud. Now, was it good acting on Caitlin to try to to make it seem like it was a foul? Yes, but that was not a foul, guys. It was not a foul. Natasha Cloud did not foul Caitlin Clark on that last play with less than a second left to go. Caitlin had the basketball, had an opportunity to make something happen, got the ball stripped by one of the best guard defenders in the game. Now, is it a foul? No. But Caitlin tried her best to sell it. She did. She tried her best to sell it. They showed a replay and whatnot. That's it. And I gotta say, timeouts matter. Timeouts are important. Now, while I don't think that was a foul, the Indiana Fever couldn't challenge it because they were out of timeouts. Now, even if they would have challenged it, it would have been upheld as a non-foul because it wasn't a foul. But, that's something to keep in mind, that if it was a foul, you wouldn't have even been able to challenge it. Aaron says it was a foul. How, Sway? How? They showed the initial play when it happened in real time. I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's not a foul. And then they ended up giving us a different angle. And in that other angle, Natasha Cloud's hand, it wasn't a foul. She hit the ball. It wasn't a foul. Now, it was fantastic acting by Caitlin. Fantastic acting for her to try to sell that, but it wasn't a foul. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. Now, I understand how some of y'all Fever fans may be very upset that your team lost, but it wasn't a foul. It just wasn't. All right? It just wasn't, and that's okay. Because your team lost. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. Your team played a great game, seriously, against probably the best team in the WNBA. Your team played a really good game, and they lost. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. But no, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think the refs are out to get Indiana. I don't. Julia, thank you so much for the super chat, says, I think it was a foul. Good game either way. Well, agree to disagree. But yeah, I understand. Like, yeah, sure. If this was my team, maybe I'd try to make my brain, like, I would try to be like, oh man, maybe, but I don't see it. This is, again, as a neutral observer watching the game in real time, it didn't look like a foul. When they showed the replay, it didn't look like a foul. A Vampire, thank you so much for the super chat, says, Bonner off to a really tough start. Yeah, she really is. Yeah, she really is. I thought she would give the Fever more. Yeah, I don't know. Like, she really is off to a rough start for this year. She really is. Now, today we saw a change for Stephanie White. She decided to start Lexi Hull and have DeWanna Bonner come off the bench. And when DeWanna Bonner came in the game, she did kind of play that 4 position for the most part. Like, before, throughout the season so far, she's been playing that 3 position, especially starting at the 3. But today she played a lot of 4. And still, even though she's played way more 4 in the past, like, still she's not totally in her groove. Not in her groove, okay? She is not in her groove, and sometimes that happens. I think she's eventually going to work through this funk, because we all know how good of a player DeWanna Bonner really is, and she hasn't shown it so far this year. She just hasn't. She has not. T Smiles, thank you so much for the super chat, says Aaliyah Boston and DeWanna Bonner got fouled with no calls. Last one was 50-50, but Fever should have already been at the line. So I will say this. I don't think that last foul against Caitlin was a foul. I don't think that foul, that non-call was a foul against DeWanna Bonner when Tasha Cloud blocked her shot. Now, I do think that Aaliyah Boston did get fouled late in the fourth quarter when she was going up for a shot. I think Aaliyah Boston did get fouled. But those other 2, I really don't think those are fouls. I don't. But Aaliyah Boston did get fouled, and I don't think it was called. I don't think it was called. All right. CAC, thank you so much for the super chat, says, I agree with you, Quita, on the calls at the end, but 32-15 is a huge discrepancy and not right. Refs shouldn't be in the game like that. Well, yeah, the New York Liberty, they got themselves to the free throw line. They absolutely got themselves to the free throw line. They were 25 for 32 at the free throw line. 25-32. And the Indiana Fever, 11-15. Now, yes, I completely agree. There is a discrepancy from the free throw line. 100%. 100%. And at times, you know, I was like, you probably could have held your whistle on that. You probably could have called that. But for the two real calls that everyone's talking about, I don't think those two were fouls. But yeah, there were other times throughout this game. There absolutely were other times throughout this game where I was like, yeah, that's a foul. Or, yeah, that's not a foul. But yeah. So I get it. I 100% understand that some of y'all are very, very heartbroken and upset. 100%. I get it. It makes sense, right? But the two calls that everyone's talking about, I don't think those are fouls. Now, y'all may have something to say about some of the other foul and non-fouls that were called and not called during this game. But those two in particular, I don't think was an issue. Now, I want to walk through what I thought I was going to talk about. All right? So, before the game was over, before the fourth quarter, finished, like I would say with like 8 minutes left to go, maybe before Jonquel Jones hit that first three of the fourth quarter. Before that, I thought I was already planning on making a recap video, and I was planning on saying the Indiana Fever have taken down the Giants. That's what I was planning on saying. I was going to say Indiana Fever took down the Giants, and Aaliyah Boston showed up and showed out, even on an off night with Caitlin, largely in terms of like her shooting. Of course, her passing is always there and whatnot, but her shooting was off, and I was going to say that the entire team rallied and made stuff happen, even with some struggles from in terms of shooting. I was going to talk about the pick and roll action between Caitlin and Aaliyah, which I think is amazing. And I was going to talk about how great that was for the most part of the game. I was going to talk about how the Indiana Fever was able to step up on defense and hedge and have active hands and force New York into bad shots, into turnovers. I was going to talk all about that. And I was going to say, hey, this Indiana Fever team is a team that you better watch out for, because we may end up seeing this in a championship game because of how great the Indiana Fever were on both the offensive and defensive end, especially in that third quarter. That's what I was planning on saying. I was planning on doing this whole spiel about the greatness of the Indiana Fever, and to an extent, that is still correct. Still correct. However, I have to talk about the fact that I'm slightly confused with the Indiana Fever strategy, slightly in the fourth quarter, okay? Because we saw, especially in the first half, we saw a lot of screen and roll action between Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston. And we saw, especially in that first half, a bunch of points from Aaliyah Boston getting the screen and rolling and getting an easy shot. We saw that like countless of times in that first half, especially. And then in the second half, we saw a little bit, but not much of that screen and roll action between Aaliyah Boston. And it had me wondering, why did you go away from the thing that was working? We saw a lot of screen and roll action. And it was successful. The most successful with Aaliyah and Caitlin. And I'm not exactly sure why they went away from that. I don't really understand. They were especially in that fourth quarter. I was just like, what are we doing? And we went to it sometimes, but like, I was like, come on, y'all better get to it. But yeah, not quite the way it was going to be in the second half. But I will say part of that was the New York Liberty. And New York was like, hey, we see what Indiana's doing with the screen and roll action. So what we're going to do is we're going to try our best to keep that screen and roll action from happening. Yes, Aaliyah Boston scored 27 points. Yes, she had 13 rebounds. Yes, player of the game for the Indiana Fever is Aaliyah Boston. Of course, she played it. She was amazing. But when it came down to it, there was an increased focus on specifically Aaliyah Boston in the last, 2 minutes? In the last 2 minutes? And they just couldn't get it to work. They just could not get it to work. And we saw, the New York Liberty get the job done. When it looked like they were about to get destroyed, New York was holding their own for most of this game until the third quarter, and then it was like boom, 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 boom. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, guys, I gotta talk about the New York Liberty on this one. Okay, let's talk about the New York Liberty, and let's talk about the fact that that Jonquel Jones was flat out amazing. Guys, we go into the fourth quarter. The New York Liberty are down. And the spark for this New York Liberty team to start off this final quarter, the spark was Jonquel Jones. In the fourth quarter, again, we're seeing this Indiana Fever team up, right? 68-76. New York was down bad in that third quarter. Terrible third quarter. Fourth quarter comes, and Natasha Howard scores. She scores again, and then here comes Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones, boom, knocks down a shot. Next possession, Jonquel Jones, boom, gets fouled. Then come back, Stewie, Tosh Cloud made a layup. Then Brianna Stewart. Then Jonquel was like, okay, let me really lock in. Scores 5 points straight. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. That doesn't even do her justice. Jonquel Jones scores 8 buckets straight. She hits a 2 and then knocks down 2 straight 3-point shots. And both of those 3-pointers that Jonquel made, both of them were assisted by Sabrina Ionescu. So this team goes from being down, kind of down bad, with all the momentum to the Fever, to Jonquel Jones scoring 8 in a row. And all of a sudden, New York is up 2. They up by 2. And then it's making this Fever team be like, okay, we just got punched in the mouth a little bit in the first couple minutes of this fourth quarter. What are we gonna do to turn it around? And then we just started seeing brick. Aaliyah made a shot. Sabrina scores. Caitlin scores. Then we got brick fouling Jonquel. Jonquel goes to the free throw line. Jonquel makes her shots. Then Aaliyah Boston gets fouled. Aaliyah Boston makes her shots. Then we're at 88. A place where we stayed from about a minute to like a couple seconds left in this game, where there was a proverbial lid on the basket. And Natasha Cloud does that huge block on DeWanna Bonner. Yes, it was a block. I don't think that was a foul. I think that was a straight up block. And then we get the ball to the New York Liberty. Sabrina Ionescu has the basketball. She drives to the basket. This is something that she's been working on, right? We saw it last year. We saw a lot of Saab like not being just this 3-point shooter. We saw her getting to the rim and making stuff happen, and that's what she did in that last action of the game. Takes it to the rim, gets fouled on the body, not on the top. On the top was completely clean, in my opinion. It was completely clean for Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull was straight up. That's all you can do. Straight up. And she was. But she got her in the body. And foul, whistle, Sabrina calms down, makes both free throws, Fever, reset timeout. Now you got to run a play for Caitlin. And once again, the two defining moments in this game was led by Natasha Cloud. She blocked the shot for DeWanna Bonner. And then for Caitlin, everybody knew. Everybody in the whole arena knew. You're down by 2. You got 2 seconds left to go. Of course, who are you going to give the ball to? You're going to get the ball to Caitlin, of course. Of course you're going to get the ball to Caitlin. Duh, best player on the team. So, get the ball to Caitlin. Okay. And Caitlin tries to, go quickly into a shot. Ball gets stripped. Yes, it was stripped. It was not a foul. I was surprised, to be honest with you. I was very surprised that the refs held their whistle on that. It wasn't a foul, in my opinion. It was not a foul, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have called it. She stripped the ball, and time expires. Time expires while Caitlin and the rest of the Indiana Fever team are like, "Hey, where's the foul? What happened? That's a foul." It wasn't a foul, but she tried her best to sell it. It didn't happen, and ultimately, the New York Liberty went from this is hilarious. I gotta say this. DL says you're the most biased person against the Fever on YouTube. Clown. All caps. Clown. I am? Really? That is hilarious. That is really, 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 really funny. But yeah, I guess I'm the most biased person on YouTube against the Fever. I guess. News to me. I'm not really a fan of clowns, though. I'm not really a fan of clowns. They were never my thing when I was younger. They were never my thing. But here's the thing. The thing I find so funny, not funny, but like sort of very understandable is that, when your team loses, you feel very passionate about it. You're very upset. You want to vent your feelings and all that stuff. But truly, I wish some of y'all who like who are saying like, "Oh, Quita, you're very biased. Oh, Quita, it's terrible, your commentary." Well, here's the thing. I would like someone to walk through that last play and truly tell me where the foul was. Where was it? Where? I didn't see it. I didn't. I really didn't. I ain't got nothing against the Indiana Fever. Y'all have heard me give the Fever they props a bunch of times. I didn't see the foul. I didn't. So, sorry. Sorry we don't agree. But I personally didn't see it. I didn't see it. Okay? And the funny part is, I have, on the other side, I have people saying that I cape for Caitlin and the Fever. On the other side, I have people saying I am biased against everybody but the Fever and Caitlyn, and I'm all about making them look good and blah 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 blah. And then on the other side, I got people saying I'm biased against them. I think it's just funny. Like, either way, people are mad at me. Either way. Either way. You can't win for losing. You can't win for losing. All right, let's get to the rest of these super chats. Ghost, thank you so much for the super chat, says JJ is a candidate for MVP, ? So clutch, so versatile. I mean, JJ is absolutely playing great. Is she a candidate for MVP? Honestly, I would say no. But she is a candidate for all WNBA so far. I don't think she's a candidate for MVP just yet. I don't. I see like you're looking at some of the other people who are sort of doing their thing, right? You got Brittany Sykes, Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, Satu is playing really well. Caitlyn is playing really well. Of course, the last 2 games, I would say Caitlyn was kind of off. But I would say those people over JJ right now at this exact moment. But absolutely, Jonquel is playing fantastic. Absolutely. She is very clutch, very versatile. And in the fourth quarter, this New York Liberty team does not win if it wasn't for JJ. Like, they wouldn't. They wouldn't win. Right? And the thing I love is how the key players were not the ultimate decider of this game. Right? When you think about the Indiana Fever and you think about the New York Liberty, who do you think about? Of course, for the Fever, you're thinking their main player, the best player, is Caitlyn. Of course, right? Makes sense. And then for the New York Liberty, you're thinking, you're likely thinking Sabrina Ionescu. Of course, Brianna Stewart. Of course, she's always in the conversation. But you're probably thinking maybe Sabrina. So Caitlyn versus Sabrina. Those are the 2 big names that are probably going to play, going to do the best, score the most points, and yada, yada, yada. But the thing I love about this game is this game was not determined, in my opinion, by Sabrina or Caitlyn. This game, especially in that first half of sorts, the Indiana Fever was being held together by Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston showed up in this game, right? Of course, I mean, like she has been so far this year, but like she had an exceptionally really good game today. 27 points, 13 rebounds, right? Really good game for her. Really, really good game. And then on the New York Liberty side, yes, Sabrina scored. Absolutely. She got her buckets, 23 buckets for her. But in the fourth quarter, when it mattered the most, the person who got this team back in this game, yes, off of passes from Sabrina, was Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones, 26 points, 12 rebounds, huge 2 back-to-back 3-point baskets in that fourth quarter. Jonquel Jones won this game for the Indiana Fever. Maybe one day she'll play for the Indiana Fever, and maybe one day that statement would be correct, but she did it with the New York Liberty. And that's the thing I love. Like, of course, let great players be great. Of course. But I do love it when we get players who, of course, we know are good, but they don't get as much attention. I love for them to be like, oh, just a reminder, y'all, I'm about that life. I'm really good. Y'all may not pay that much attention to me, but I'm really good. And I felt like that's what Jonquel Jones was giving us today. I loved it. She carried this team in the fourth quarter, and ultimately, Sabrina sealed the deal. Hollywood, thank you so much for the super chat, says, Caitlyn pulling a Kennedy in the locker room. I assume you mean that she's very upset going into the locker room. I'm sure she's upset. I mean, dog, you just lost a very, very, very close game at the end of a game. Like you just lost it on your home court. Of course you're upset. Like, so I mean, I wouldn't expect her to be like, I lost. Let me mosey on back to my locker room. Of course she's upset. Yeah, she's a competitor. Like, that's what players do. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just a thing. It's a competitor thing, right? So, yeah. Angie, thanks so much for the super chat, says the reality for Howard is sinking in of not being an MVP with this young team. The reality for Howard is sinking in of not being an MVP with this young team. I'm confused. Of Natasha Howard not being an MVP? Did she think she... Thank you so much for the super chat. I am a little bit confused. Like, did she say she was going to be the MVP for the team this year? I mean, Natasha Howard struggled in this one in terms of scoring efficiency, but basically the whole team struggled in terms of scoring efficiency. Right? And that's the thing. But I will say this, one thing that was like, here's the thing, a bad stat. Now, this is not me ragging on her, but this is me stating what's happening. So don't listen to this and be like, Quita hates Caitlin Clark. See, she hates her. Blah, 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 blah. But I gotta say it, guys, because on this channel, I say what I think. I watch the games, I peep what I see, and then I'll talk about it, okay? And in this game, in the first game of the year, Caitlin Clark gets a triple-double, and the crowd goes wild, right? Triple-double! Caitlin Clark, Dave Portnoy just made a whole bunch of money. Triple-double. She's amazing. And then today, triple-double. Caitlin Clark gets another triple-double on the season. Triple-double watch. But, no, it was not 10 plus points. It was not 10 plus rebounds and 10 plus assists. No. This was a mark of 18 points, going 2 of 11 from the 3. 16 of 18 overall. 18 points. 10 assists, which is great. But also 10 turnovers. Guys, 10 turnovers. And I was watching the turnovers and I was like, sometimes, and sometimes this is true. Sometimes when point guards get turnovers, it's not always the point guard's fault. Sometimes it's the player that they're passing to. Maybe they just weren't ready for it or blah, 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 blah. But you watch, like, a huge amount of those were Caitlin's fault. Like, they just were. And that's one of the things that happens early in the season. You're still trying to get in the swing of things, still trying to understand your personnel, right? And tons and tons of turnovers. Caitlin is still struggle festing. And in that first game of the year, like, she was on beast mode, right? Again, I talked about it already. Beast mode in that game against Chicago. And in that first game against Atlanta, the game that they lost, right? Really good. Caitlin was a really good scorer in those games, right? She shot around like 45, 46% in both of those games for the first 2 games, right? 1 win, 1 loss. Then we go into the last game on Thursday against Atlanta, at Atlanta, and Caitlin struggled, right? She played a lot of off ball in that game, but she struggled from the field, right? Did not hit a single 3. 0 for 5 from the 3. Ultimately, she shot 36% in that game. Then she go into this game. Now you're back at home. You're not in Atlanta anymore. You're back at home, and sure, you score more points. Sure, your passing is, you're still passing the ball, getting some assisting, but you are turning over the basketball through 3 games so far this year. 3 games. Caitlin had 3 turnovers in that first game against Chicago. She had 3 turnovers in that second game against Atlanta. And she had 4 turnovers in the game on Thursday against Atlanta. So you come into this year, 10 turnovers in the first 3 games. 10 in the first 3 games. And then in today's game, you get 10 turnovers. That's not good, right? There were some instances of just not connecting with your fellow teammate. Like they just, you kind of saw the idea, but it just didn't work out. So like, turnover city, right? 10 in the first 3 games, 10 today. Now, am I saying this to rag on Caitlin? No, it's to say the obvious. These turnovers have to get under control if this Indiana Fever team wants to make it far, right? If they want to make it far, she has to keep that assist to turnover ratio good, right? You got to keep that alignment pretty good, because if you start, basically your assists have been washed out by your turnovers, right? That's why the assist to turnover ratio. That's why people talk about it. That's why it's a thing for guards, right? So in the first game, 10 assists, 3 turnovers, not bad. Okay, you're +7. You're +7. Today, 10 assists, 10 turnovers. So it's basically washed. It is basically washed. So it is what it is. It is what it is. K-Moo says she is getting hacked without calls. Here's the thing. Does Caitlin get fouled sometimes and the refs don't call it? Yes. Does she push off sometimes and the refs don't call it? Yes. My point is, it has to get under control. Again, not me ragging on her. This is facts, okay? I feel like sometimes when people call out certain stuff, you're seen as a hater, or you don't like this person, or you're talking negative about this, but you just got to call it out. I mean, we call it out when other players have bad games, when other players do certain stuff, and so we got to call it out. We have to call it out. And one of the things we've seen is it seems like the Indiana Fever are trying to experiment with like this off-ball Caitlin thing. And to be honest with you, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it. But yeah. Kristen says she pushes off because she doesn't get the calls. She pushes off because all guards push off. Most guards, especially a lot of point guards, they push off. It's not because she's like, oh, I'm not gonna get a foul, so I'm just gonna push off to preempt. No, she pushes off a lot, and so do a whole bunch of other players, right? And she rarely gets called for that push off. Rarely. Now, does the referees miss some calls where sometimes players are fouling her? Not that last foul. That last foul was not that last foul was not a foul in my opinion. Not a foul. But does Caitlin get fouled? Sometimes the refs don't call it? Absolutely. Does she foul and sometimes it not get called? Absolutely. Here's the thing. Yes, the refereeing is still an issue. Overall, it always is. It's just basketball. At this point, I don't think I have complained about the referees this year so far, because I think I've just come to an understanding that the refs are going to ref. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, you got to win regardless. So yes, was there a foul differential between the Liberty and the Fever? Yes, it was. Yes. But. At the end of the day, the Fever had 3 chances to win this game. And they didn't capitalize. And it is what it is. It is what it is, guys. And they'll get better. They'll figure it out. They'll work through some stuff. They'll right the ship or whatever. But bad game. Or not bad game. Good game. Bad finish for the Indiana Fever. For the New York Liberty, I would say good first half. Terrible third quarter. Good second half. All right. We got some more super chats. Angie, thanks so much for the super chat. Says the reality for Howard is sinking in. Wait, did I already say that? I think I already said this. Of not being an MVP with this young team. I think I already read that. Unmuted, thanks so much for the super chat. Says, how do you explain Caitlin Clark's 10 turnovers and 2 of 12 from the 3? I mean, just like I did. I mean, she had I think she was she 2 of 12? I think. Yeah, like 2 of 11. I think it may have been, but yeah, she's been bad. She hasn't been good from the 3. Like, she didn't make any threes in that game on Thursday against the Dream. She struggled, though she did get that first 3 in the third quarter, and the crowd went up. Like, they went up for that. I was like, okay. they were excited because they was like, hey, maybe she's finally getting her groove back. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you get in a spurt, in a slump, and you're just like, can't make it work. But yeah, those 10 turnovers are bad. Yeah, they were absolutely bad. They were absolutely positively bad, and so you gotta get better. You gotta get better, and she will. I mean, it is what it is. She has 10 turnovers in the first 3 games. She has 10 in her 4th game. Sometimes it happens like that. But it's one of those things where, hey, it is what it is. Call it out. Talk about it. You got to improve on that in order for your team to make it happen. You are the point guard for this team. You are the best player on this team. You have to take care of the basketball, right? Sure, 10 assists is fantastic. But if you just wash them all out with 10 turnovers, what's the point? So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's something that the coaching staff is going to talk to her about. I'm sure she's already beaten herself up about it. You got to do better. You got to do better. And again, this is still early, so not the biggest of deals at all. But yeah, I mean, overall, the Fever played great in this one. To even have the third quarter the way they had it, played great. Anyway, thank you so much, Ed, for the super chat or super sticker. It is a thanks written on top of a purple heart. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Whoa, thank you so much, Kristen, for the super chat. Salute to you. Thank you. Says we stink. In Fever, and we still almost won. ABC squared is awesome, dude. The refs. I mean, the refs are always a thing. But here's the thing: if you are an Indiana Fever team, yes, your team lost it late in the game. Yes, that is true. Your team lost it late in the game, but your team played a heck of a game. How many teams can say that they took the defending champs for a ride in the third quarter? How many teams can say that they scored 30 points to New York's 13 in the third? How many teams can say that? Like, dog, y'all ain't got nothing to hold y'all head about. Seriously. Y'all held New York to basically only making 2-3 field goals or something like that or 3 or 4, whatever, in the third quarter, while y'all made 4 3-pointers yourselves in that third quarter. I'm just saying, y'all got a lot of stuff to be happy about. Yes, you end up losing at the end of the game. Sure, does that hurt? Yes, but it is a learning lesson, and y'all was in this game. So, it is what it is. I don't actually think it's that big of a deal. To be honest with you, guys, if this was the other foot, if this was the Chicago Sky and they got this close to the New York Liberty and they played the way they played, I would be ecstatic. I would. I would be ecstatic. Okay. R.R. Smith, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, don't pay the irrational Fever fans any mind. They're emotional right now. Wrong, but understandable. Jones being unstoppable and Cloud being the best guard on the floor was the story. Yeah, Natasha Cloud was... I ended up making a TikTok video about her during this game where she's just... Yo, Natasha Cloud is having herself a masterful season. Like, truly. What is she at the top of scoring when it comes to the New York Liberty, right? It was this awesome sequence where what was this? The second quarter where she gets the handoff from Jonquel. Jonquel was backing somebody down, passed it to Tosh for a 3-point shot. Tosh knocks it down. And then the Fever have the basketball. I believe it was Caitlin. She was trying to get it to Natasha Howard, I think. Natasha Cloud saw what Caitlin was about to do. And Natasha Cloud jumps in front of the pass, steals it, I think throws it down the court. And what was it, Sabrina, who ends up getting the basketball and scoring, getting fouled, and she goes to the free throw line. Like, that sequence in the second quarter, I think, but that sequence was just a microcosm of how great Natasha Cloud is. Not only is she offensively really good, but defensively she's really good as well. And like, that was one of the things. She was on defense knowing Caitlin is going downhill. I see Natasha Howard here. I think Caitlin's going to pass her the ball. So I'm a wait a beat. I'm going to wait until that ball leaves Caitlin's hands, and I'm going to swoop in, take it, and then we're off to the races. That is great defensive IQ. And if y'all want to watch that exact play, I recorded it and put it on TikTok. So that's what I'm starting to do now is during the game, if I see a sequence that I'm like, OMG, that's amazing, I'll clip it out and talk through it and then put it on TikTok. So watch that on TikTok. Quita Loves Sports on TikTok. But that play was just a microcosm of like what this game really was. Like, truly. Right? So I'm just saying. I am just saying. And again, fans have the right to be upset, right? Fan is short for fanatic. It's still fresh in your mind. It's still fresh in your mind about your team losing and you're kind of reeling. Of course, it's understandable. So like, no hard feelings at all. No hard feelings. And no, was that last super chat, nor neither one of us are saying all Fever fans. So before I see comments say, see, someone being somewhere else and being like, hey, see, Quita called all of us irrational. No. Some fans in general are irrational, including some Fever fans, just like some Sky fans, just like some Liberty fans, just like some Aces fans, just like some of all fans. Small segment, a little bit irrational, and ultimately that's what makes fandom fun. That's what makes fandom fun in a lot of ways. I mean, y'all see me at the Sky games during the game itself. Yeah, I'm a little irrational, a little bit. It is what it is. That's what I put my fan cap on, and start to make some stuff happen. So I have to cheer for my team. Another super chat from R.R. Smith. Thank you so much. Says also no one should be considered an MVP candidate with less than 5 games played. But if we are going there, Jones is definitely in the conversation. I mean, I think she's definitely in the conversation for like all WNBA. Like I think she's absolutely doing her thing. I mean, and today put a huge spotlight on that. Huge spotlight on that. Jason, thank you so much for the super chat. Says NBA list of 10 turnovers in a game is almost all Hall of Fame. Yeah. Which is kind of my point, I think, is that it's a bad game. Sometimes you have those. Now, if the Fever want to be successful, she can't continue to have 10 turnover games, but it is what it is. Here's the thing. You can't expect your favorite player to play excellent every single game. It just is what it is. They're humans, right? These are not machines. These are not robots. These are human beings, flesh and blood. And sometimes they got a bad game. Sometimes they're just off. It is what it is. Not a big deal. Not the worst thing in the world, but something to notice, acknowledge, and move forward, hopefully in a better route. Okay? So I don't know. That's my kind of thoughts right there. Again, not the biggest of deals. Okay? Not the biggest of deals. Unmuted, thank you for the super chat. Says you are so adorable. Okay, I'm gone. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's all, I don't have anything else to say other than, Liberty fans, y'all should be encouraged by the fact that your team had it, completely lost it, and then got it back, right? You should be very, very happy that your team did that, but also slightly worried that they can have a quarter where it was basically a lid on the basketball, right? Right. Basically a lid on the basketball, 100%. In that third quarter, and yes, you lost it, but you came back and you had a really good fourth quarter to close out the win. So Liberty fans should feel slightly frustrated but encouraged. And I will say this, the same thing for the Fever fans. I think you should be encouraged and also slightly frustrated, right? Encouraged, meaning that y'all were down, by 8 or something going into the third quarter. And you flipped the switch in the third quarter to ultimately have a significant, I would say, lead in the fourth, right? You go from down 8 to up 8 going into the fourth. So positives all around, positives in that, yes, once again, Caitlin does not have the best of games. However, Aaliyah Boston once again is doing her thing and is showing spurts of greatness. There should be some encouragement about that pick and roll action that is looking really, really, really good. If you can continue to exploit that, you have more of a chance. And also the fact that DeWanna Bonner once again struggled in this game, and still you almost win, guys. I'm just saying, there. You should be encouraged if you are a Indiana Fever fan. You should be. But I understand, you're probably frustrated about the discrepancy of fouls. You're probably upset, and you probably think that the last play was a foul, which I don't think it was, but maybe you think it is, and maybe you're frustrated about that, and you're just frustrated all around. Sure. But also, dog, it's not doom and gloom. Y'all are 4 games into the season, and to think about it this way, last year, was y'all 2-2 after 4 games last year? Were you? No. Progress. Right? So, yeah, both teams, I would say both fandoms are likely feeling both encouraged and frustrated. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about the game. Yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts. Lexi Hove did get the start. And she played. I thought she played pretty well in this game. Actually, very well in this game. She ultimately had 15 points in this one, right? She did her thing. She did her thing in this game. And maybe it's looking like a good thing. She's now in that starting spot. Kelsey Mitchell, struggled from the field overall, but like she had 15 points as well. Again, Aaliyah Boston, player of the game, in my opinion, for the Indiana Fever. 27-13 for her. Caitlin struggled, kind of, right? In terms of scoring, again, struggled from the three. Ultimately finished with 18 points, but 6 of 18 from the field, so like not the best shooting wise in this one. But 10 assists, nice. 10 turnovers, not nice. And so we move, right? We see what happens. You should be encouraged by the way the game went, but you lost, and that is what it is. You're playing against the defending champs, so I mean, it's understandable not to win that one. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I wanted to leave on a positive note. Like, everybody, be encouraged. All is not lost. All is not doom and gloom for your favorite team, okay? Because you... Now, that'd be mean to say. I was about to be like, because you could be the Chicago Sky. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh, we got another super chat. GDM, thank you so much for the super chat, says, I'm sure their delusional bandwagon Caitlin Clark fans will cry hard tonight. I hope nobody actually cries about a game. I hope that's just like, I hope that actually doesn't happen. I hope people don't cry about games. It's just a game. It's okay. Which is why you should never sports bet. I'm just saying. Now, will you be lucky like Dave Portnoy, who made a whole bunch of money in that first game by betting on that triple-double for Caitlin? Yeah. But this is just a game. This is just entertainment. Sure, you're going to be passionate about it. Sure, be passionate, root for your team, do all that awesome stuff. Yes, do it. It's fun. It is very, 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 very fun. However, guys, this is a basketball game, okay? Which is why you should not be betting on basketball or on any sport, guys. This is entertainment, not gambling, okay? Don't gamble in general, but like definitely don't be doing sports betting, because I feel like it can get people a lot more emotional, a lot more heightened, because they have actual money on the game. So like, don't. It's not that big of a deal. It's truly not. It is truly not that big of a deal. Okay. All right. So yeah. Anyway, that's that. Y'all have a good one. Here's the thing, guys. Can I ask us this? Can we please just remember to be kind to people? I get it. Let's all have fun, enjoy, have a good time. But truly, have kindness, be kind to people, treat people in a respectful manner. Of course, disagree. Of course, say what you want or whatever. But yeah, be kind to people. Be respectful. Don't name call. Don't do all that stuff. Come on, guys. Let's be the greatest awesome people of the internet possible. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I didn't say it earlier, but I'm going to say it. I don't always say it, but I'm going to say it again. Tell somebody that they matter because they do. All right? So tell somebody today that they matter and that you think they matter because they absolutely do. And here's the thing. If no one has told you, you matter. Well, you do. You matter. You are important. And guys, I am happy that you are on this earth. Thanks for being an awesome person of the internet, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for rocking with me, whether you all have been rocking with me for a long time, whether you're new here, whatever the deal is, thank you for being here. Guys, y'all have a great rest of your day. Remember, guys, that I love you. But way more important than me loving you is the fact that Jesus loves you and he wants a relationship with you guys. I will not be on the stream tomorrow morning. We will not have Quita in the mornings. However, we will have a live stream later in the day. Go to church in the morning. Start your day off right. And guys, have a good one. I will see y'all in the next one. Thank you so much for rocking with me, guys. Y'all know we have a good time here. So rock with me and be kind. Be kind in the comments. Be kind when you're talking to people. Know that you are talking to an actual human being and not just a random bot. Okay, we're humans out here. So treat humans the way you should treat humans. All right, I'll see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.